Hello, hello, and welcome back to the branding behind Alex Hormozi's $100 million launch. All right, my name is Cynthia Kita, and I am your brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the Design Firmacy, which is your number one business pharmacy. And we're continuing our series with Brand Vital number two, which is brand positioning. So we're going to talk about who Alex serves and why he is different. All right, so Alex didn't just sell to entrepreneurs, he split them into two different groups. Now, one message was for the underdog, and then another for the heavy hitter. And the genius is in how he positioned himself to serve both audiences without losing his credibility. So let's get into these talking points. All right, so number one, again, he had two different audience tiers. He spoke to the beginners, which, if you've ever traveled on a plane, I'm sure you heard the tidbit, at the beginning, the, what do you call it? The safety spiel that they give at the beginning of every flight, right? They say, put on your oxygen mask first and then help everyone else, right? And so essentially the beginners are the people who had to put on their oxygen mask first. And the established owners were the people who essentially he was asking them to help him help everyone else. And so, again, he had the beginners and then he had the established owners. And in many places, it's very hard to have the two because, when you get to a certain point in business, in life, wherever, I mean, you can even think about siblings. Older siblings don't really want to hang out with their baby siblings and take them wherever they're going, especially if they're going out with their friends, right? I mean, I'm the youngest in my family. And so me and my next sister are 3 years apart. She ended up having to take me everywhere, right? But I'm sure she didn't actually want to, right? No one wants to hang out with the little kid, right? And so with that said, sometimes the advanced players do not want to hang out with the beginners because they've already reached a certain levels that the beginners just have not. But in this launch, Alex addressed both of those audiences. He addressed the beginners and then he addressed those who were way advanced. And so for the new entrepreneurs, he says, put on your oxygen mask first. And for the seasoned business owners, his call to action was help me help everybody else. And so this dual positioning really widened his reach without forcing him to lose focus in any way. Now, number two is that creating inclusivity was allowed without any type of dilution. So no one felt left out. He built an atmosphere an atmosphere, sorry. He built an atmosphere where everyone had a role, everyone had a space in the narrative that he was building, the story that he was essentially writing with this amazing launch. So by speaking directly to both of those groups, he created a place where everyone had a role. So the beginners felt included, but then the veterans or the advanced players felt really honored. And the message was that no matter where you are, you belong here. And so for those of you who are beginners, this book is going to help you get out of that beginning stage. And for those who are advanced, I'm going to incentivize you for helping the beginners. So if you did not watch the launch at all, he allowed the advanced business owners to help the beginners in this way. So yes, he had everyone pre-order the book. If you pre-ordered the book, $100 million Money Models, you got a certain amount of freebies and resources to really help you out. But then for those who did not necessarily need that book because they're already advanced in practicing those methods, he gave them the opportunity to donate 200 books or even 800 books. But then he gave those advanced business owners different playbooks that they would need to continue advancing their business. So he basically said, just donate these books and I'll give you, I think, maybe 10, 11, 12 different playbooks. And then a debrief about his entire launch. He would give that to the business owner, the advanced business owner, for free, just for donating. Because again, it goes back to what his purpose and his vision was to educate everybody and help them, build their businesses because they've sacrificed so much. And so if you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, watch the last video. All right. And so with that said, he had the opportunity to really appeal to those two audiences. He didn't leave anybody out. No one felt like, I mean, hopefully no one felt like, oh, he's speaking a language that I don't understand. It was not like that, because although the two ends of the spectrum were in the room, we all felt like he was just speaking to us individually, right? And so that was amazing. Now, number three is he differentiated himself with proof. Now, something that a lot of us tend to do is when we want to magnify ourselves, we try to put someone else down. And it may not be intentional. For some people, it may be. But Alex did not do that. You know, he didn't sit there and make promises. He didn't sit there and degrade anyone. But he differentiated himself by always showcasing proof. So he had his case studies, he had his frameworks, and he had a lot of results in order to replace whatever hype could have been created in place of all of those things. And so the proof became his selling point. And something that was even greater than that is he literally brought in his proof. So first thing is he had his proof behind him on a screen where he had people, I would think they were on Zoom or something of that sort. So there were just like boxes of people's faces live. So like we even saw people walking on their walking pad, you know, people moving around, like people that his clients were literally behind him on a screen as his proof. But then in addition to that, he brought in his business friends, who were these advanced players who had already done what was in the book that he had written, Money Models. They had already done these things, and he invited them as guest speakers to really talk about a couple of strategies that they've implemented. And so throughout the entire launch, he was just showing us proof upon proof upon proof upon proof. And I think that speaks to what I learned about him, was that he had a bit of like a tutoring or math background. You'll see that if you watch him, he's really able to like get numbers and percentages. Like he just throws them out like faster than I would even be able to calculate, right? And so numbers really work for him. And I know a lot of us stray away from numbers. We don't like numbers because essentially it shows you what you're dealing with, right? And it's very hard for us to face ourselves. But what he did was he showed the proof. He showed the numbers, he showed the case studies, and then he brought in guests who could further prove whatever it is that he was teaching in his book. So proof is what differentiated him. He didn't have to tear anybody down. All he had to do was focus on what he did that was working and show everyone that it actually works. Number 4, he showed empathy for pain points. So the beginners, as I mentioned, would get the free tools. I believe we got access to school for a certain amount of days, and then a discount. We got audiobook, and some other things as well. But then the advanced owners or the advanced players got the opportunity to make a high impact donation. So again, they were given the opportunity to donate 200 books, because part of Alex Hormozi's purpose and vision was so that, I forgot the number, but a certain amount of entrepreneurs, he wanted his book in the hand of every single entrepreneur. And so he implored the advanced business owners who could afford it to make a donation. That's how it was presented. That's how it was positioned. It was positioned as a high impact donation. And both of these groups, the beginner and the advanced player, walked away with value that was very specific to their needs. So the beginner needed those tools and the book in and of itself, but then those advanced owners needed those advanced playbooks that would take their businesses to a newer level, right? But for the beginners, yes, they can afford the $29.98 or whatever it was for the book itself. And then the advanced players could actually afford the about $6,000 contribution, which was also tax deductible. And then they could get away with even more value through all of the playbooks and the launch guide that was going to be given to them as a thank you for their donation. And so you could see there that Alex really developed, or really thought about what it would mean for the beginner to get what they got and what it would mean for the advanced player to get what they also got. So the lesson here is that positioning can unite different audiences without diluting what the focus is. So he didn't have to dumb down the language for one audience and raise it for the other. He just spoke one language that touched both sides. And so it gave everyone a very clear reason to belong in the room. And so when you have great positioning, it's not just about who you target, but it's about how you make each segment feel seen, feel understood, and to be served by your brand. All right, so that's what I have for this episode. Now, too many brands sound the same. And when you blend in, you just disappear. So your audience does not buy from the loudest brand. They buy from the clearest. So if you've been struggling to stand out, I have a new challenge for you guys called What's Your Secret Sauce? And it's going to help you uncover the exact positioning that makes your brand impossible to ignore. And so in just a couple of days, you'll stop competing on price and you'll start owning your lane, your very special lane. So join me at What's Your Secret Sauce Challenge by visiting brandmysecretsauce.com. And your unique spot in the market is waiting. So join us by visiting brandmysecretsauce.com. Bye.